Hello, Spartans. Yesterday we talked about additive and multiplicative relationships, and today we're going to do the same. Now, to save me from having to repeat how to do this foldable 6 different times, I'm using a video. Okay, and there goes a little red ball. First, you got this blue paper here, and this will be the inside, and if you turn it over, this will be the outside, and you see how there's this little perforated line here and here? We're going to fold like this along that perforated line. So go ahead and do that with your blue paper. Take your time, make it neat. We can pause if we need to. There, like that. So you have like a little flap right here for your additive side. And then do the same thing over on the left side. Find that little perforated line. Fold as neat as you can, like that. There'll be a little gap in the middle, but that's okay. You don't want them to overlap. You want to have a little space. So we have our multiplicative side, and we have our additive side. Okay. Now, from yesterday, let me zoom in a little. The multiplicative relationships in a table, we said, could contain the points 0, 0. But that the additive would never show the points 0, 0. Never. Draw a little arrow there. Emphasize. If it's additive, it will never have 0, 0. It could have 5, 0 or 0, 2, but never at the same time. Okay, let's scroll down here. Okay, on a graph, the line does pass through the origin, also known as the points 0, 0. However, on the additive side, the line does not pass through the origin or the point 0, 0. So emphasize not. Okay. Then we talked about multiplicative and additive equations. In a multiplicative equation, remember we said the number was right next to the letter, and the letter we usually use is x, but the number can be any number. So I'm going to use the letter M to represent any number, any amount of money, any amount of moonbeams, any amount of M&Ms. Okay, sorry, back to work. So any number times x, and the number and the x were right next to each other. Now in 7th grade, you're going to learn that the M represents the coefficient. That's just a little vocabulary you might hear every now and then, but now you know the number next to the x, when you're multiplying, that's the coefficient. Okay, now on the additive side, the equation was we took the x and then we added a number to it. I will call that number b. So you could take x plus any number, b. And that b is what's called the constant. Just a little bit more vocabulary you're going to hear in your future. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some scissors. They should be in your little tote. And cut along this line here that says cut. Be careful. I'm running low on Band-Aids. Don't cut your finger. Ow! Just kidding. All right, and then on the other side, cut and cut. There. Now we've made like little window doors. You can open up the top, and we have the tables. Oops, sorry, sideways. The tables for additive, multiplicative, and then we can close that and open up the graph right below it. Scoot up. See the graphs for multiplicative and additive. And then we'll have equations for multiplicative and additive. And then at the bottom, we will have verbal descriptions of multiplicative and additive. All right, close it up. Let's go to just the multiplicative top left side. They give us a scenario. At Kelly's furniture store, an employee's salary is determined by the amount of furniture he or she sells. Okay, so you have to sell furniture and you get a commission off of that. The salary is 1/5 of the employee's total amount of sales. So remember, 1/5 also means to divide, I'm going to put or, divide by 5. So if a person sells $200, we would take the 200 and divide it by 5. And 5 will go into 24 times, and then I have the 0. So the salary earned would be $40. See if I can hold that down. There. Now what if you sell $450 of furniture? Well, you get 1/5 of that, or divide by 5. 5 goes into 45 9 times, and then into the 0 0 times. You get $90 salary. Make that 4 look better. Okay, $750. Divide that by 5. I don't know what 750 divided by 5 is, but I have space. So over here, let me work it out. 750 divided by 5. Okay, go ahead and work it out. See if you can get it before I do. 1, 2, 5, 25. Oh, that's it. Break down the 0. I get $150. $150 salary earned for selling $750 of furniture. And finally, the last one, 900 divided by 5. So 900 divided by 5. 5 goes into 9 once. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract. I get 4. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 48 times, and then I'm done. Nothing left over. Last 0. 5 goes into 0. This last space gets a 0. So $900 in sales gets $180 in salary. Okay, so that's taking a scenario, finding out what the rule is for all of the x's, following it along, solving and getting the y values, then taking the x and y values, and let's go down to the graph and put that on the graph. Ooh, look at these numbers. Okay, when the x value was 200, that's down here, the y value was 40. So go to the right 200, up 40. Let's see, put a dot right there. Be careful, take your time. Okay, then 450, which would be in between 4 and 500, 450, I need to go up to 90. Now, sometimes I'll draw a line this direction to kind of help me connect where it goes along there. Especially when these little squares or rectangles in here, when they're really tiny like that, it's hard to follow. So feel free to draw those lines. All right, 750, which is between 7 and 800 here, goes up to 150, which is between 140 and 160. I'm going to carefully draw that line out. Carefully draw this line up, and they're going to meet right here. There's my third dot. And then finally, 900 goes up to 180. 180 is here, and 900 is all the way across to the end. And there's my graph to represent the furniture sales and the salary earned. Okay, next flat, the equation. What did I do to all of these x's to get to the y's? We divided by 5, or we could say times by 1/5. So I want you to write down 2 ways. Here's one of them. All of the y's equal 1/5 times the x's, 1/5 of the x, or you could say all of the y's equal x divided by 5. You might see it in either form, so just be prepared. Okay, now the value of y is blank the value of x. So let's look up at the table. These values of y, and these are the values of x. So I see they're getting lower, but I'm not subtracting, so it's not less than, and I can't say, this would sound weird. The value of y is divided by the x, or x divided by 5. That just sounds awkward. So how we say it in these terms, the value of y is 1/5. 1/5, F-I-F-T-H. 1/5 the value of x. That's why the fractions come in handy. It's easier to flow in that verbal description. All right, close. Go to the additive side. Yay! So multiplicative can be multiplying or dividing, and additive can be adding or subtracting. Let's see what it says. Drake is 5 years younger than his brother Ryan. In this situation, Drake's age depends on Ryan's age. Okay, so Ryan is here, Drake is here. And Drake is 5 years younger, so should we go up 5 or down 5? I think it's down 5. So the process, we are going to take whatever Ryan is and subtract 5, and that gives us 1. So when Ryan was 6, Drake is 1. All right, then we have 8 for Ryan minus 5. Drake is 3. When Ryan is 11 minus 5, Drake is 6. And when Ryan is 14 minus 5, Drake is 9 years old. All right, let's transfer this XY information onto our graph. Now be careful when you're reading the graph. You can see that the bottom is Ryan's age and the vertical is Drake's age. So you got to be sure to put the correct numbers where they belong. So my first column, the X is all the Ryans, 6, 8, 11, and 14. I'm going to go ahead and make a little dot here. 6, 8, 11, 14. I know where they are. And then Ryan's age was 1, 3, 6, and 9. 1, 3, 6, and 9. So then I could just follow up. When Ryan was 6, Drake was 1. And when Ryan was 8, Drake was 3. And when Ryan was 11, Drake was, come across right about here, 6. And finally, when Ryan was 14, follow it all the way up to 9, right here, Drake was 9. Okay, so this is an additive relationship. If you notice, when Ryan was 5, Drake was not even born, or was just barely born. He wasn't even a whole year old. So this does not go through the origin. On the multiplicative, if you sell no furniture, you get no money. That goes through the origin, 0, 0. This one would not. Okay, let's go to the equation. Okay, open that up, make it a little better. All of the y's, which represent Drake's age, equal Ryan's age, whatever it was, minus, let's see, he was 5 years younger, minus 5. Or if you want to put it in additive form, you just do LCO. Y equals x minus becomes a plus. The opposite of 5, negative 5. Most of the time you're going to see x minus 5, not x minus or plus negative 5. My 5 looks weird. Make it better. There we go. Okay, so in this situation, we say the value of y is 5 less than, I'm out of room, the value of x. The value of y is 5 less than the value of x. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, what we're going to do, zoom out. Oh, see how on the back it says attached to your IMN? You're going to get a glue stick, it's in your tote, and you're going to glue the back of this, put it on a piece of paper, and we're going to title it Multiplicative and Additive. So with a marker at the top, write Multiplicative and Additive. Let me show you my final copy in my notebook. Ta-da! Multiplicative and Additive. Have a great day. Enjoy the practice. You got this. And there goes that ball again. Oh, it's coming back. Bye.